Way back in 1997, Marvel unveiled a brand new team of superheroes called the Thunderbolts, written by Kurt Busiek with art by Mark Bagley. However, the team wasn't your traditional superhero comic book team because at the end of the issue, it was revealed that all of the individuals on the team were actually previously introduced supervillains in disguise, with Baron Zemo leading that team. Now, Marvel is going back to the Thunderbolts concept in more ways than one. In fact, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we've seen collect a group of supervillains to assemble their very own team of Thunderbolts. But Marvel Comics is going in a brand new direction in trying to rehabilitate the Thunderbolts name. My name is Ariko Braddock, and today, let's go ahead and dig deep into the brand new Thunderbolts team. But before we get any deeper into the video, wanted to encourage you to like this video since you're already here, and subscribe to the channel if it's your first time checking out our content. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce this new creative team on this brand new Thunderbolts run. This run is written by Jim Zub with art by Sean Izaakse, colors from Java Tartaglia, letters from VC's Joe Sabino, and cover from David Nakayama that we're going to look at right now. And big thanks over to Flickering Myth for providing this preview of the issue. And I want to go ahead and read off Marvel's solicitation text to catch you up to speed on this new Thunderbolts team. Like lightning, superpowered crooks have taken hostages in Staten Island. A dimensional rift tears open in Chinatown. Monsters running amok at the Met? Call in the thunder. New York City's finest are here to save the day. Hawkeye, Spectrum, America Chavez, Power Man, Persuasion, and Guts and Glory. You know them, you love them, they're the Thunderbolts. In the aftermath of Devil's Reign, the Big Apple has big problems, and it's up to a new group of Thunderbolts to turn things around. But when Clint Barton gets tasked with heading up this new team and proving they can go toe-to-toe with anything the Marvel Universe can throw at them, the first opponent he's going to have to face is himself. So let's talk a little bit about this new team of Thunderbolts, because I don't think we've ever quite had this roster before, and I definitely think that the Thunderbolts in the MCU are not going to look similar to this team in any way, shape, or form. So we have way up in the front Hawkeye. It looks like he's in a new costume for the Thunderbolts that kind of blends his old and new look together. I'm not the biggest fan of redesigning David Aja's run from the landmark Hawkeye comic book with Matt Fraction, but I think it looks serviceable. So behind Hawkeye in the upper left corner, we have a new character called Guts and Glory. We're still waiting to learn a little bit more about him, but we definitely know that he's kind of a Cable-esque giant gun-toting type of adversary. And over in the foreground here, we have Monica Rambeau, who is in the Captain Marvel movie, also known as Spectrum. In the upper right corner, I think this is one of the most interesting members of the team. This is Kara Kilgrave, also known as Persuasion, who is the daughter of the Purple Man. So really interesting character. Interesting to kind of have a next generation character on the Thunderbolts team. Bottom left corner, we have the new Power Man. And in the very bottom right corner, there is the America Chavez superhero, which was kind of first shown off in the MCU in the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness team. So really where this issue first kind of takes readers is it kind of brings you up to speed with Hawkeye, Clint Barton in the Marvel Comics universe. In the previous miniseries, Hawkeye Freefall, Clint Barton alienated some of the people like the Avengers that he calls dear. And this series really kind of shows him picking up the pieces and reaching out to Luke Cage just to get some of the housekeeping out of the way. And the Devil's Reign crossover event by Chip Zdarsky with art from Marco Cicchetto, we first learned that essentially Kingpin had stepped down as the mayor of New York in the Marvel universe, and now we have Luke Cage rising up as the mayor of the city. Luke Cage is all about sort of redemption and is trying to redeem the Thunderbolts name. And that's where Hawkeye kind of steps in here. Hawkeye is currently looking for kind of a new team to call home, which is why it's perfect for, this Thunderbolts opportunity to literally kind of like jump out at Hawkeye in order for him to take on, kind of a new team and a new status quo. The next thing I want to talk about here is the art from the series. We have art from Sean Izaakse. I think Sean Izaakse does a really great job kind of drawing all the different characters and adding, so much detail. I think what Izaakse is best at here is all of these kind of facial expressions. Some of the characters' faces can look the same, but thankfully, they're all incredibly expressive and emoting despite their kind of really complicated costumes. I think looking at kind of the face America's making on this page is a really great way to kind of get a hold on how expressive Izaakse's artwork can be in certain moments of the series as a whole. So one of the kind of disappointing aspects of this Thunderbolts issue is there's a little cliffhanger at the end, but it's not something on the scale of the 97 run with Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley, and that's exactly where my criticism is going to come in here. This is a perfectly formidable issue. It does a really good job like setting up and establishing the team together and establishing the threat and tying all these elements of continuity together really nicely, but we don't get much farther than that. And honestly, I think when you're playing in a shared universe, there's maybe more potential to take on a greater opportunity than just establishing the status quo, setting up the team, and getting them ready for their first mission. But this is still a perfectly formidable issue, by Jim Zub over on the writing side of things. It's got some really kind of gorgeous and nice art here. There's an interesting team of characters, and the way this all kind of ties back to Marvel continuity is interesting. So I think kind of as a whole, there are places where this Thunderbolts run can go. As of right now, it's just okay, but there's plenty of time, for the series to develop further. There's definitely an interesting cast here, and I'm hoping that some of these characters will really get their time to shine. And if this book ends prematurely, I hope that Marvel will continue exploring these characters in other series as well. So what did you think of Thunderbolts #1? Were you entertained by these characters? Did you think that the creative team kind of did a good job assembling a new team of heroes? And do you think that the idea of the Thunderbolts, rehabilitating themselves and becoming a superhero team, do you think that's something that's going to last over in the Marvel universe? Or do you think that at some point Marvel will kind of continue in their tradition and turn this team into a group of supervillains again? Let me know in the comments, and really appreciate you guys checking out my video today. I'll be back next week with some excellent comic book content, and I'm looking forward to it. See you soon. Bye.